Hey guys, what's up? My name is Luke, welcome to my channel or welcome back. Today I am going to be reviewing the second book in the Twilight series, New Moon. I should probably hold it up this way. Well, look at that, I actually have proper sticky tabs this time. I actually went out and got myself some because solar coordination, like I do with all my reviews. I'm going to start off with a basic summary and then go into stuff I liked, stuff I disliked, yeah, all that fun stuff. So New Moon starts off a few months after Twilight, as in the first book. Just a recap for the first book. Bella moved to Forks, Washington from Phoenix, Arizona. She met the Cullens, who were vampires. She started dating Edward Cullen, and there was this vampire called James, and he tried to kill Bella, and then Edward killed James. And yeah, that's pretty much a summary of the first book. Yeah, so New Moon starts off after, like a few months after Twilight. So Bella's all healed, and it starts off on her birthday. And she doesn't want to celebrate her birthday because it means that she's getting older than Edward technically is, and she's not very happy with that because she is now and so older than Edward. So she told everybody to not celebrate her birthday. Of course, they didn't listen. She gets to school and she's, constantly told happy birthday, and then Alice Cullen, which is Edward's sister, or like adopted sister, tells her that they're having a party tonight for Bella. And Bella's obviously upset, but she goes anyway. At the party, as she's opening gifts, she cuts her finger on a piece of wrapping paper. Jasper, who is the most, he's the newest to the vegetarian vampire diet. Basically, he's the newest to only drinking animal blood. And so, of course, when he smelt Bella's blood from the paper cut, he got super, thirsty and tried to go after Bella, which caused Edward to push Bella back into a bunch of plates, caused her to bleed even more. Everybody freaked out apart from Carlisle Cullen, who is the leader of the Cullens. He is the oldest, he's like 300 years old, and he's a doctor. After that, everybody gets really freaked out and they're scared that they're gonna hurt Bella even more, so then they all move away, and that causes Bella to go into depression, and she is forced to start hanging out with her friends because her dad gets really worried and threatens to move her back to, threatens to move her to Jacksonville, where her mum is living. He knows why she was so depressed because Edward left, and so he thinks that moving her from Forks to Jacksonville, ends up hanging out with Jacob Black, and he turns out to be a werewolf. And so basically everything's fine. Victoria, which is James's mate, James from the first book, sends her friend Laurent to try and get Bella, but then he gets killed by the wolves, and now Victoria is stalking Bella. Bella then goes cliff jumping or cliff diving, whatever you want to call it, and Alice Cullen sees and gets worried because she thinks she tried to kill herself, told all her family minus Edward where she was going, and then came back to Forks, Washington, where she finds out that Bella's still alive, and then Edward finds out from Rosalie, who is another one of the adopted siblings, and he now believes that Bella's dead, and so he tries to kill himself, and then it all ends up happy in the end. So that's a basic summary. So yeah, we're gonna get into stuff that I liked, because honestly I feel like you could kind of do with stuff that you like, really. There are of course stuff which I didn't like, stuff which I had questions about, but yeah. So we're gonna start off immediately. First chapter, there's a scene, and if you've seen the second movie, if you've read the second book or watched the second movie, you'll know what I'm on about, which is it's this like dream sequence right at the beginning of the book, and basically so Bella sees her gran, and immediately she knows she's dreaming because her gran's been dead for years. And Edward comes out of the forest, and Bella of course gets nervous, or gets really nervous because she doesn't want her gran to see her boyfriend glittering in the sun. However, it was too late, because when she looked at her gran was looking back at her, but she had a sheepish expression as opposed to like an angry one or like a scared one or horrified. And then it turns out that she's looking in a mirror, and it's actually her, but she's like 80 years old, and it's really well done. I don't give it justice with how I explain it, because I don't want to like explain it super hard. And then possibly my second favourite thing in the book is after Edward leaves, after all the Cullens leave, and Bella went running after Edward and got lost in the woods, and then Sam Yulee, who is the leader of the werewolf pack, found her in the woods and brought her back, and then she fell into a depression after that. But to show the kind of passing of time before anything really exciting happens, this is how Stephanie Meyer did it, and it's great. So it's October, one entire page. Sorry, my lighting's really weird. November, one entire page. December, one entire page. January, one entire page. And then when you get to February, which is when everything starts up again, it's like a very short paragraph. And yeah, so that's really good. One of the other things I really, really liked is how she described Bella's depression. This is obviously just one example. Basically, a lot of books that have characters dealing with mental illness, they romanticize it a lot and make it seem happier than it is. Whereas it doesn't do this in this book, and that's honestly something that I got really happy about. It's part of the reason why I love It's Kind of a Funny Story by Ned Vizzini so much, because it deals with actual issues in an actual way. Like in a way that would be dealt with, that would happen in the real world, as opposed to, oh, sunshine and rainbows. But yeah, so it's described with, it was a crippling thing, the sensation that a huge hole had been punched through my chest, excising my most vital organs and leaving ragged, unhealed gashes around the edges that continued to throb and bleed despite the passage of time. Rationally, I knew that my lungs must still be intact, yet I gasped for air and my head spun like my efforts yielded me nothing. My heart must have been beating too, but I couldn't hear the sound of my pulse in my ears. My hands felt blue with cold. And it really is, it's just how you, like, I don't really talk about mental health, but it is how you feel with depression. It's definitely how I felt last year when I was dealing with major mental health issues, and I mean I still am, but it's getting better. It takes a long time. After everything like that has happened, she realizes that if she experiences something that could be like considered dangerous and that Edward wouldn't like her to do, she hears his voice, and so she decides to start doing dangerous things. She first realizes this when she is out with her friend Jess or Jessica, and they see these guys, and she sees these guys in a bar, and so she walks up to them, and she immediately hears Edward's voice being like, "No, go away, turn back, go back to Jess," and so she does. And then she realizes, hang on a second, this is how I can hear his voice. So she really does like stupid things, like riding a motorcycle with Jacob or Jake, and cliff diving, and annoying Jacob or getting into arguments with Jacob when she knows that if she does, it can lead to him turning into the wolf form of him, and then her getting injured, like stuff like that. So that's interesting. It's an interesting move. Because it's confirmed as it's just her subconscious, which is good, because I don't think it would have been that great. Like, if it were like, oh, Edward's keeping an eye on her, and he's like, seeing all this, and he's telling her, don't do this, blah blah blah, that would just, I feel like that'd just be really stupid. But it's not the way that it's described. It's full on described as, oh, here's this, it's more so described as, oh yeah, she's imagining all this because it's what she wants to hear. And that's honestly, like, I'm happy that Stephenie Meyer went with this option, went with that option, as opposed to going with the, oh, he's talking to her option. So after that, she goes cliff jumping, like I said, and she was originally going to go with Jake, but he got sidetracked because Victoria's back and she's stalking Bella, and they think they can get a hold of her. But Bella goes cliff jumping, and Alice Cullen sees, like I said, and Alice then flies back over to Forks, and then it turns out that Bella's alive. Yeah. And so Bella gets really freaked out because, oh my god, Edward now thinks she's dead. And so they both fly over to Italy, which is where the leaders of the vampire world, or the kings of the vampire world, which are the Volturi, live. Because Edward is planning on annoying them and, like, basically like, oh, look at me, I'm a vampire, to the world, to get killed by them. Because, like I said, I don't think I said that, he said to Bella, like, right at the beginning, that basically, what they were watching Romeo and Juliet, and he basically was like, oh, if you die, I'll die. Pretty much. It was pretty much like, oh, if you die, I'm gonna kill myself. Which, imagine saying that to your partner. Like, what the fuck? Like, I can't deal with that. Anyway, so that happened. And so, he's about to kill himself. And everything's okay because Bella runs through a fountain and makes it just in time. I'm really bad at explaining stuff, and it's also like 1 a.m. But yeah, so that all happened, and but the Volturi then find out that Bella knows about the vampire world, and so they give Edward the choice of either let us kill her, or turn her into a vampire. And so he's all like, oh fine, I'll turn her, but he's not planning on turning her. And then at the end of the book, he's like, fine, I'll turn you, but on one condition, along with Carlisle's condition, which was wait until graduation. And and Edward's condition was that he marry him. And then that's the end of the book. Jacob he becomes an unlikable character like halfway through. He's really rude to Bella. Like, he breaks so much promises, like, because he promised to always be her friend, and then he breaks that so many times. And it's just like, oh my god. And then yeah, and at the end of the book, he brings back one of the bikes, and then like to her house, just so then her dad can see, and so she'll get in more trouble. Like, she's already grounded. You're so like, oh my god. But yeah, so Jacob becomes a kind of unlikable character. And that's really it. That's really all that happened in that book. I will say, it is a good book. Is it the best book ever? Is it the best book ever? No, it's not. Is it the worst book ever? No, I'd rate it a solid 4 stars probably. Which seems pretty high, and I know it seems pretty high, but it's a good book, and you have to remember that it was written quite a bit ago. It was written like, what, over 10 years ago probably? Yeah, well, the first movie came out 11 years ago, so yeah, it was written well over 10 years ago. So would you expect for it to be like slightly off on like things that you know, you should be like politically correct about now? But yeah, overall I would definitely recommend that you read New Moon, obviously after Twilight. But yeah, thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, feel free to leave a like. If you want to see me review the rest of the Twilight series, feel free to subscribe. Or I believe it would be here, I think, if I remember to put it here. But yeah, I do try and upload as much as possible. However, of course, it takes time because I have to read an entire book and then write out reviews, or well, write out notes. Like, this is my revised notes. This is what my notes actually look like while I'm reading, which they're a mess. I keep moving my camera, oh my god. Thank you for watching this video, and yeah, hopefully I will see you in the next one.